What Love Demands is a road movie that starts out in a small town in Arizona. Well, really, it starts out at a doctor's office where Rose is getting bad news. Across town, her son Aiden is getting suspended from school for fighting.
He called me a vagina.
Even worse, when she finds him, he's at Petra's house, dressed in a kimono and reenacting the final scene from Madame Butterfly. Petra is a retired opera singer. She could be played by this woman, or perhaps her, or even her, or maybe her. Who knows? Aiden is obsessed with opera when he should be into Matchbox cars or Star Wars. Anyway, when Aiden mysteriously receives 2 tickets to see La Traviata at the Metropolitan Opera, Rose finds herself in a difficult position. Rose is forced to accept Petra's offer to drive them across country. With opera blaring from the speakers of Petra's cherry red 1973 Bonneville, they set off for New York City. At their first stop, they meet Miles, a charming drifter who could be played by him, or him, or him, or even him. After pickpocketing a trucker, Miles manages to charm his way into the Bonneville. On the road, Miles quickly picks up a fan in Aiden, but Rose is unconvinced. The next day, and 300 miles later, the trucker Miles robbed catches up with them and is trying to force them off the road. From the glove compartment, Petra produces a gun and hands it to Rose. Although they escape the trucker, Rose accidentally shoots Miles in the ass, and they are forced to stop off at the nearest medical center, which turns out to be a veterinary clinic. The vet manages to patch Miles up, but that doesn't stop Miles from borrowing some high-grade pharmaceuticals from the vet's medicine cabinet. Rose insists they stop off in Dallas to see her estranged brother Tristan, who could be played by him, or him, or him, and his fabulously flamboyant boyfriend Marcello, who could be played by him, or even him. Rose's medical condition is serious and getting worse, and because of this, she insists Tristan and Marcello join them on their trip to New York. It's when Tristan enters the picture we learn about Petra's love affair with Sidney, Rose and Tristan's dad. It was years ago when Petra was a young opera singer and Sidney was a stagehand. Back in the present, our heroes stop off at a roadhouse in Louisiana, where they quickly find themselves in the middle of a bar fight. Let's just say they had some cultural differences with the locals. And although no one is injured in the gunplay at the CVS parking lot, it is recorded by the security cameras. At a Greenville motel, a day's drive from New York, Rose finally lets her guard down and opens up to Miles. And for a moment, love has its say. But in the morning when Rose awakes, she finds that the Bonneville and everything in it has been stolen and Miles is gone. It's only after they've left town that the local cops realize that the harmless-looking family they helped load onto the Greyhound bus is actually a gang of hardened criminals that have been stealing drugs and getting into gunfights across America. The bus is pulled over at the Virginia state line and our heroes are thrown in jail, where they are quickly reunited with Miles, who has also been busted for stealing the car. With the hours dwindling until the opening curtain, Petra enacts a bold plan, seducing Chief Barlow, who really should be played by him, or him, and then holding him up with his own gun. Rose is so angry with Miles she is considering shooting him, but Aiden steps in on his behalf. With just minutes to go, they ditch the car and the GWB, as by now they are being chased by all manner of cops, and they manage to get themselves smuggled into the city by truck drivers stuck in rush hour traffic. Aiden makes it to the opera. Miles pulls out all the stops to make it up to Rose. Tristan, Marcello, and Petra have formed a tight bond that will be the heart of Aiden's family no matter what happens to Rose. As the final curtain comes down on La Traviata, we realize that in the row behind Petra and Aiden is Sidney, this opera's unseen hand. He has managed to bring his grandson and the lost love of his life within his reach, if only for a moment.